So, all right. Well, thank you all, everybody. Thanks for being here. We're really glad that you're here. Welcome to the April edition of the Inventors Network Kentucky Open Online Meeting. I am Don Skaggs, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer around here. With me is Leo York, our Vice President, and we've also got George with us, helping us with stuff. So we're really glad everybody's here. Thank you all for being here. Well, I'm sure we've got, well, actually, I know we've got quite a few visitors, people that are here. If you registered for this meeting and if you're here, you probably did, you will get some emails from us. If you're not seeing any emails, you may want to check your junk folder. Sometimes we wind up there. And be sure and whitelist us so we are you can get news and information, what's going on. We've got a lot going on, a few things I'm going to mention during some announcements here that hopefully will be very helpful for you, that we're going to kind of blow through here real quick. Number one is if you are not a member of the Inventors Network, well, you can do that by going to our website. Our website is kyinventors.org, and you can become a member. You can get a membership plan. There are benefits to memberships. You get into all these meetings free. Sometimes these are free meetings. Sometimes there's a little paywall. And even if there is, you get in for free, basically. And also you get access to our workshops, which I'm going to talk about also in just a minute, which is a very special kind of meeting that we do, along with a lot of other really cool perks. So anyway, if you do want to become a member, that's how you do it. Go to the site. It's real easy. You just click on join now. I got a question for some of you all out there. Are you located in a rural area? And I have a reason for that. And Leo's putting a poll out. And when I say rural, I mean, are you in an area that's got a population of 50,000 or less? So rural can mean a lot of things. Basically, you're not in a big city. We're in Lexington. That's got a population of about 200, 300 some thousand. And if you're in Louisville, that's probably about 500,000. So you kind of know if you're not rural. If you're not in a big city like that, you're usually rural. So let us know. We're counting kind of who we're serving in the rural population for some work we're doing with some of our partners that we have out there. And actually, one of those partners is Accelerate Health, and we're doing some special work with them, reaching out to rural areas, rural entrepreneurs, rural innovators. And if you are in a rural area, then you might qualify for things like scholarships or for memberships, or you might qualify for other programs that we're doing. So reach out to us, info@kyinventors.org, and I'll be going over that as well. So anyway, also, while you're on our website, you might want to pick up some cool swag. We've got some very unique swag that you really can't get anywhere else because it's kind of unique. It's ours, and it's for inventors, innovators, entrepreneurs. So it's some of the coolest swag in the Inventorverse, we like to say. So if you're interested in getting something like that, we've got that on our website. Also, if you missed a meeting, maybe you said, that meeting you all had back in February, I really wanted to go that and I couldn't. Well, you can watch the replay. And for members, that's free. You get full access to all the recordings of these meetings that we do. And if you're not there, again, there's a little paywall sometimes to get in there. It's like 10, 15 bucks. It's nothing. But you can access all of our meetings, past meetings from way back. So you definitely want to join us for that. And hang on, there we go. All right. Also, we have courses online too. You can, we call it Empowered Inventing Academy. And we have everything from getting started with your idea, protecting what's valuable about it, all the way up to marketing and selling and building a business around your idea. So all that's on our website, kyinventors.org. And if you've not been there, you want to go and kind of check out all the goodies and all the cool stuff we have going on there. If you're on social media, you definitely want to follow us. We are KY Inventors on all the usual suspects: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. However, if you go to YouTube, you're going to want to check us out at Empowered Inventing TV. We've got a YouTube channel now that now has well over 300 videos on it, where we cover all kinds of topics. We try to keep entertaining, engaging, fun, and hopefully that very educational. As you we always have a point to our videos where we really try to teach you something about inventing, entrepreneurship, or life. Here's one of the recent ones. Alexander Graham Bell's greatest invention was not the telephone. What was it? Well, you can tune in and find out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's Empowered Inventing TV. Just dial it in on YouTube and you should be able to find us just fine. Now, next week on same bat time, same bat channel, right here in cyberspace, we are going to have what we call our Inventor Entrepreneur Workshop. It's a very different kind of meeting than this meeting. This meeting, we have a speaker or a panel like tonight. We have some fun. We learn some things. We have fun with networking. Workshop's a completely different animal. So what we do with the workshop, it's members only. We all work under what's called a closed non-disclosure agreement. So whatever is discussed in that workshop stays in that workshop, and it's a safe place. You're not publicly disclosing. We all work under a closed non-disclosure agreement. And we basically go around the room, we introduce everybody, and then we go around the room again. And everybody gets a chance to talk about, this is what I have, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm stuck. And instead of getting one person's idea or an opinion, you get an entire room full of people. It turns into a brainstorming session on steroids. The energy in the room, if you've been to one of these, you know what I'm talking about. It's like nothing else. And what you leave with is a lot more than what you bring. So you join us for that. Again, you have to be a member. Again, membership, kyinventors.org for that. And you can join us next Tuesday for that. Now, not this Friday, but next Friday, we're going to have our Inventor Friday. And that's going to be a week from this Friday on April the 12th. We always have surprise guests. We have a lot of fun. This is a time where we just kind of let our hair down, and it's just some, inventors, entrepreneurs, nerds of all stripes, just hanging out on a Friday night talking about really cool, fun stuff. And that's what we do. Think of it kind of like a podcast meets a party, meets just a get together where you're just chatting about stuff on Friday night. We talk about innovations in business, in history, in the news, and it's a really great discussion. Plus, we answer your questions, and we also feature an inventor. We always have somebody who's out there really doing it, and we feature what they're doing and what they're up to, and you get to kind of learn all about that as well. So it's a lot of fun, and you can join that by joining us for the inner circle part of that on Zoom, just like here. Or you can just join us on YouTube, and because we live stream it on YouTube, and you can just watch us like a TV show as well. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. Join us. That is going to be Friday, April the 12th, Inventor Friday. Also, if you are a member and you are ready to go prime time, go live with your product, you've done all those smart, lean things to protect yourself, and you are ready to see what the world is going to give you as feedback, well, we'll help you do that. If you've got a product or an invention and you'd like us to feature it on our Inventors page, Meet the Inventors page, we'll do that. Reach out to us at info@kyinventors.org. Again, you have to be a member, but we would love to do that. Our quote of the month is from Thomas Edison: to invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. And I can't think of a better place where you can find both of those very valuable resources than a makerspace. And tonight we are going to have a panel of makerspace leaders from around the country. So without no further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to spotlight our makers our Makerspace leaders that we have with us tonight. And let's see who all, if you got everybody, Leo, or do you need help?
I might need help, but we'll see. Let's
Okay,
see.
let's see,
Got
who all do we have?
four. There's one missing. I'm scrolling through.
We have Chris Whitler. Chris is with Lexington Makerspace in Lexington, Kentucky. Also with us tonight, we have Nate uh,
There
Bezenson,
he is.
and I apologize up front if I am butchering your
Found you.
name. Hopefully I'm not. And then we also have Jess Etheridge from the Berea Makerspace here in Berea, Kentucky. And we also have Adam Remington with Family Lab down in Orlando. And then we also have Chris from Grand Rapids or Grand River Makerspace and the Lakeshore Fab Lab. So we are so glad to have you all with us. Uh,
Exactly.
and thank you all for being here. And let's tell you what, let's start uh, Lexington. Chris, we want to start with you.
Excuse me. You are muted. Everybody is actually muted.
There we go.
There we
All
go.
right.
There
Are
we
we
are.
good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, can do.
All right. Yeah, no, my name is Chris. And I was a member over at Create Now Makerspace, if some people remember that, in the Lexington region. And I discovered it. I was going to buy a pack of cigarettes and I saw a bunch of like blue lights or something inside of there, and I was like, what is those? 3D printers. I talked with Michael Kreisel and I was like, will you 3D print something for me? And he goes, you could do it yourself. And so I became a member a few months later after saving up money. And the unfortunate happened. They decided to close. Back last August, they made the decision. And while it was really depressing, I had to just quit my job. I was about to make partner for a massive firm, and I wrote my 2 week notice, and 20 minutes later, they told me they were shutting down. So I was like, crap. So what do I do? A couple days goes by. I'm sitting, and I'm a tow truck driver, on the side. And I said, you know what? Maybe I can form my own makerspace. Shouldn't be too hard. Uh, so I decided to move forward with that. I called my business partner. His name is David Nadu. He's not here with us right now. He's busy behind the scenes, but I called him up and I said, let's do this. We were going to be business partners. Now we're just changing the business. So we changed the business, and we went and moved forward with it. And it took a lot. We had 36 days to find a place, move all of the equipment, buy new equipment, and get the place up to code for everyone to be able to use safely. That is a massive strength of feat. I also want to make sure to thank Julie Butrovich. She is one of our board members as well. She just, I mean, we wouldn't be a makerspace without her. Um, uh, and that's the honest opinion. She's handled all the technical stuff, the background stuff, as you guys know, the nonprofit side of things, because we want to be a nonprofit makerspace. And then I also collaborated because I traveled the whole country for about 5 years. That last 2 years, every major city I went to, I was going to maker spaces across the country and learning how they were doing things. Familab was actually one of them that I went down to in Orlando. I went to St. Louis Make, went to the one out in San Francisco recently here on a recent trip back in January, or sorry, it was February. And and that's kind of how we formed a lot of stuff. I've seen so many different stereotypes of maker spaces. You have a full-blown engineering one, and then you got one that's up in Montana that they're trying to build the best firework that could be able to, do this, this, and this. And but they're not focusing on 3D printing or anything else. So I got to get a whole hodgepodge of every different maker space. And I like to say that we're in a good medium. We actually recently we've got some very big news that we're going to announce later. We don't know when we want to announce it. He told me to announce it on this, but we're moving forward with things, and I'll go ahead and let you know. We are investing in a fiber laser, a big 12-foot by 12-foot fiber laser. We got approved for the loan this week. We are going to go ahead and start the purchasing process on Friday. And we are going to use that to fund the Makerspace through a separate LLC to try and get things up, get more things. And then finally, all three of us, me, Julie, and David, we've all looked at each other and we're like, we want to quit our jobs. So that way we can run the Makerspace full time and also be able to run as a Xometry partner.
No, excellent, excellent.
Wow, that is so
That's
cool.
fantastic. I'm very eager to see what the news is, and I will
That's
also
the
second.
news is we're getting the
Oh, that's
fiber laser.
well,
the
yeah,
fiber
So,
yeah.
laser.
I don't.
Okay.
so
Being good.
So
I'm also watching the weather because it's gearing up here, so I'm kind of my IQ is less.
we're back. Yeah,
Um,
we're batting down. If
And I'll
one
also
of us
second
stays
what you
on, we should
said
be all right.
about, and I hope I didn't misrecall. Her name is Julie, is fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
just in terms of content creation, she is a wizard. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
In
so,
yeah.
fact, actually, that icon you guys posted for the meeting tonight, that business card, that was 100% custom made by her.
not even
And I was
surprised.
just
Yeah.
like, I think she wrote our logo. I pulled over to a Shell gas station one night in my tow truck. She goes, I need you to stop working. I need you to come look at this. My hand is so sore. I've wrote this logo almost 200 times. I need you to pick
Wow.
one. So I met up with her and I ended up picking, and I ended up picking, where it says the Lexington Makerspace in the
That is
bottom
awesome.
corner. That was done over 200 times for the Lexington part. And she killed it, man. And we were actually talking about Cloudflare. I'm going to give you guys a really cool thing. Not many people know this, but if you do, it's really cool. You know what I'm talking about. But we use Cloudflare for our website. I found out yesterday at 9 p.m. that the reason why their security is so great for their web hosting is because there's a camera that is focused on lava lamps. And there's a whole wall of lava lamps. And because of that, it keeps making a random code the entire time because the
Whoa.
lava. Yeah, please look it up. But it is
Who
like you're not
thought of
interrupting.
that?
You're not
Yeah.
interrupting the lava lamps. In fact, if you walk in front of it, you're just helping change the algorithm. So, because every time you're doing stuff, you're randomizing stuff, computer still always has it as a pattern. But with the lava lamps, it's completely organic and it's analog.
That is brilliant. Hmm.
And I'm showing some pictures of the Makerspace.
Well,
So
this is also changed now. We actually have a
Mhm.
lot more in there. This was our
Nice.
beginnings of how we became a makerspace. We are currently working on getting more stuff brought in, and then more photos put onto our website. Most of this was within the first 3 months of just things, all around the place. That whole room's full right there. That's all changed in the front. That's completely changed. But it was a lot of work. It was about almost close to 6 months before we finally said, I think it's safe enough, to be able to walk away from this and know that, people are going to be safe in here, and what we do. And then teaching classes, the woodshop clearance class was one of the hardest things that we had to go through, for a lot of the members, getting them retrained. And we've had a few hiccups, as any makerspace does, but we were able to fix them. We had to invest more. We had to, we put in around almost close to, we're right at about 50,000 on the total investment so far. And we're going into it a little bit more. And so now we're applying for our granting and everything for our 501c3, as you guys know. And we actually it was set as an LLC, but we didn't know this until Don goes, he goes, it's registering as an LLC nonprofit. We didn't know those existed. And yeah, and I was like, oh boy, look at the rules on this. This is so terrible. We need to get out of this. So we were like, let's get that 501c3 going pretty quickly.
well, cool. So what all, if somebody walked into your Makerspace, Chris, what would they be able to do right now?
So right now, they would be able to pretty much have access to over, I think it was around 25 grand minus the CNC router worth of woodworking equipment. We have everything helical blade as far as our jointers and planers. We just got quite a bit of stuff from Festool. I'm sponsored by Milwaukee Tool, and I get like free things every month or a coupon and stuff because I complained about their 3-drawer pack out, and then they were like, "Wow, you're really detailed. Let's use you in our focus groups." So I collected Milwaukee tools over the years as being a project manager. So I have almost close to about $3,000 worth of Milwaukee impact and battery powered stuff. We have welders. We have an entire ceramics division, a laser division. We now have 5 3D printers running in there, a couple of them dual head, and of course our bamboo. I want to thank Jess Estridge actually in regards to the bamboo. You know, we kept fighting it on what we were gonna the purchase. We wanted the Ender S1 Pro. We kept just going back and forth, and finally, like I was just like, the bamboo is the way to go, and we have never had a fail off of it yet, except for the bolt pattern one, and we couldn't be more thankful. And then we've just recently acclaimed a new room for our fiber laser as well. We were going to get a water jet, but we realized, you know, running at $50 to $60 an hour in energy is a lot more expensive compared to $2.83 an hour with a fiber laser, and it being at the same price without, you know, the solutions or anything like that. We were like, let's do it this way. So we just acclaimed another building and got another 1,000 square foot. So we're sitting right at around 5,500 square foot. And we are also adding in a forging system and stuff next week now that spring is here. So we now have a full-blown metal shop, and we're going to be looking at a CNC plasma cutter here in about 2 weeks.
Very cool.
That's
Very
excellent.
cool.
That's
All
awesome.
right. That's
I've got
fantastic.
the link in the chat, and we'll also get to questions near the end. But Chris, don't get torched, mate. Michigan, Chris, I know you might be more pressed for time, so how about you go ahead?
Sure. Yeah, I was just gonna say, don't get a torch mate, man. We had so many problems with that thing, and then found out afterwards that everybody in the industry didn't like them.
Interesting.
Anyways, so my name's Chris, and my background's engineering, and I kind of fell into the role at a community makerspace at a community college. So I really got into 3D printing about 10 years ago, and met a guy at like a meetup that like kind of propelled me into the role that where I ran the Lakeshore Fab Lab at Muskegon Community College. And if you guys know Joe Finkler, that's kind of where he is. He lives up there. So he does a lot with the Michigan Inventors Coalition, that whole basically what you guys do, but Michigan. He's the guy that invited
Joe's
me
a great
tonight.
guy.
Yeah. So I ran the Lakeshore Fab Lab for 6 years, got it up and going. It was kind of a, you know, situation where I wish I would have been brought on for speccing out equipment. A lot of education institutions get into that trap where they're just like, bunch of money, buy it all. And then they're like, oh, I guess we should hire somebody. So we worked with what we got. We had a lot of crappy hobbyist machines. We ended up replacing them all with like Creality machines. Now they're being slowly replaced by Bamboo. And you know, we didn't have like traditional woodworking there. We have like plasma cutter, a torch mate. So don't get a torch mate unless they've changed in the last year or two. CNC router, ShopBot, that's tried and true machine, vinyl printing, sublimation, crickets, you know, electronics, light electronics stuff. We would do workshops and just kind of be a resource for the community. We found a niche with a lot of like small businesses coming to use us for, you know, banners and stickers and printing and shirts and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a website that was actually redone up during COVID when we shut down. Give us some time to redo that. And as you see up top there, homeschool is a huge thing up here in Michigan. So when I decided to leave the role managing it last year, although I'm still involved, you never really leave. And homeschool is huge. And the new manager was telling me, yeah, we put a request out for anybody interested, and they've had so much interest that they've had to like schedule multiple days. And I'm actually going to be running some workshops for them in the near future. And yeah, it's just really huge because there's not a lot of regulation in Michigan on that avenue. So pivoting kind of into what I want to do now is I'm on the board for, in the city I live in, Grand Rapids, which is a larger metropolitan area than Muskegon, second biggest in Michigan next to Detroit. But I fell into this because a group of people in my city that I live in, so Grand Rapids and Muskegon are about 45 minutes away. So I had a pretty big commute to get out there. Well, hey, there I am right there. Some of the makers in Grand Rapids were using the space, and it kind of just like coalesced into a group that was like, well, why don't we have an actual space? So the answer to that is we had two shortly after I started running the lab. Both of them went under. One of them was run as a non-nonprofit. It was like a side operation of a gentleman, and he just like closed it up over a weekend, and that kind of fractured the community and burned a lot of bridges. And then another one got raided by the FBI for doing some unscrupulous things with Bitcoin. That's all we know, whatever happened. And that, so that closed down because of that. So there's been some bad blood in the air for the last couple of years from makerspaces. So we're trying to get over that now with this new group, and hopefully we can show what I was able to help accomplish in Muskegon and kind of pivot that into what we're doing. I hope to somehow make it my job. I do some consulting on the side, but really this is more like a passion project of mine. And, I got one going pretty successfully. So hope to do that now. Right now in GR, we have a church that lets us use a space. So we have a 3D printing lab and some vinyl printing, some simple stuff like that. So, and what we've done some Arduino classes. We're doing some of those this month. We're doing another Arduino class, and we have a potential partnership on a space that we're hoping will work out with a community nonprofit. So right now it's kind of getting figured out by lawyers and insurance. And yeah, I'm just trying to, education's big in my skill house, which is weird because I wasn't an educator traditionally, mechanical engineer turned educator. And yeah, that's how I describe it to everybody. It's, that's the one thing the hurdle we've had to overcome. It's like, you try to describe this to people and you're like, how do you describe it? It's a gym membership with power tools. And yeah, just always make this. I always told people it's like shop class combined with a gym membership. That's why I always would say. And so we really haven't figured out like what we're gonna have quite yet. For like equipment and stuff like that. We have some basic ideas, but it's gonna be one of those things where the space will kind of dictate it, I think, and we'll probably go from there. So, yeah,
very cool. All right.
Excellent. Thanks so much for sharing all this. Yeah, anybody in that area, make use of this. That is fantastic. Same goes for everybody. Woof. There we go. It's getting dark now.
I like to do the thing just like Chris did, visiting maker spaces around the country. So like we went to Chicago and, I visited one down there a few years back, was in LA, visited Urban Workshop, sat down and talked to them for a while. So like, I like to get out and just see that stuff too, man. I think it's the only way something so weird like a makerspace can exist is the.
Yeah, one common thread I seem to find with anybody who runs or works at a makerspace is just being passionate about the creative act itself. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Well,
let's see. Moving on. Oh, go for it, Don.
Well, why don't we're kind of skipping back and forth across the country. Well, why don't we go to Florida? Adam, you want to? We'll unmute you and.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, so yeah, I'm from FamiLab. Basically, FamiLab's been around since I believe 2010. The original name was Orlando Hackerspaces Inc., and then FamiLab's just a DBA of that. But it started off as just a bunch of more hacker mentality than maker mentality. But over the course of the years, it seems to have changed organically on its own to more of makers. I haven't been around since that entire time. So unfortunately, I'm actually kind of new to the makerspace leadership side, because I've been a member since probably about 2016, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. And yeah, this is our old site too. We're just about to launch a new site that's coming out, but it'll look a bit nicer, but have kind of the same information in it. But yeah, so about last year, midway, I think through last year, I noticed that the lab over the past years had been, especially after COVID, attendance went down, workshops went down, and we're all member run and member funded. So it's up to the members to, hold those events and whatnot. The board really just kind of pushes them in the right direction. So I decided to join the board to try and help out, and I found it in a state that wasn't incredible. So we actually ended up moving. We just finished our move Sunday to a new location. So luckily we found it right down the street. But long story long, basically we had locked into a good rate on a 65 or 6400 no 6500 square foot space, because one of our members was the owner of the building, and he ended up selling it. And the new guys are just our holding company that really just wants to make money, right? So they basically asked us to leave early and gave us some incentives to do so, and it wasn't in our interest to stick around at all, especially with the way our attendance and everything has gone down. Our membership had gone down over the past few years. So yeah, we moved over to this new space. It's only 2,400 square feet, but we basically took everything that really was being utilized, and all the machines and all the tools and whatnot, that the ones that really were being utilized, and we moved those. We got rid of a couple, but in all honesty, there was more I don't want to say hoarding going on, but it's a lot of those, the projects people start and then never get to, and those just added up. So there was more storage in there of member stuff than there was of anything else. But in order to do it as financially responsible as we could, we had to do it in 30 days. So we went, we only had 1 month of overlap. So we went from 2,500 square feet to 2,400 square feet in a matter of 30 days. It was an insane undertaking, but now that we're there, it's going to be great. We're going to get back into doing more workshops and whatnot. We already have a lot of motivation from especially new members, but even revitalized members. I think now that they see that we're working on making it better, we're getting a lot more people to come back. So it's really been great. Is like daunting as that sounds of a task, it's actually been really great and really fun to work with all these new people. But yeah, we have 3D printers. We have about, I think, 5 3D printers, 2 laser engravers, we got an Epilogue, and then we also have a Boss one, which is pretty cool because Boss is like right down the street from my house. So their support is fantastic. We got an electronic bench set up. We have metalworking machines like a mill, lathe, welders, woodworking things. Like we recently had a member brought in a X-Carve CNC. We've been doing kind of learn with me classes on that. We got a wood lathe, table saw, the regular woodworking stuff. And then we also have a classroom where we have a place to hold events and like basically classes. Or what I've been pushing a lot is, I don't know how it is with you guys, but in the maker field, you don't get a lot of outgoing people, right? Makers aren't usually outgoing. Inventors sometimes can be, I think, but I found a lot of our members just, they don't want to stand up in front of a class and teach something, but that's something that really is going to drive our membership numbers up, is workshops and things like that. So What I started, because I was kind of like that in the beginning too, is just a learn with me thing. So I have no idea how to weld. Well, I had no idea how to weld, but I asked somebody to show me how to set it up, and I watched a bunch of videos, and then I held a learn with me welding, and you know, just had people show up with me, and we just learned how to weld from there. I think that kind of, not only does it really bring people in, is it also kind of builds that community that we're trying to do, the working together aspect of it. Um, but yeah, well, we also have a lobby. Just going through my notes, we also have a lobby where it's just like a general hangout area with video games and such. One of our members actually referred to it for him as a third space, and I thought that was pretty interesting because I never thought of it like that. That's actually our old building. We gotta get our new building on Google. But yeah, we have a third space where he comes just to hang out and to work with people, and that's it's kind of our whole thing is more of a community than anything. But yeah, that's FamiLab. Like I said, I'm still kind of new to the leading part of it, but I'm hoping to take it in the right direction with myself and the new board members that are joining this year.
Very cool. Very nice. All right. Well, that's exciting. You got a lot of stuff, exciting stuff going down in Orlando, Adam.
Yeah, lots of new stuff. This is kind of
Yeah.
like I said, it's kind of a reset button for us. So we
Yeah.
got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipe.
Well, it sounds like a lot of good opportunities as well. So
Yes.
very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, let's see. Let's since we're going kind of tic-tac-toe, let's move over to Jess. Jess, you want to tell us about the Berea Makerspace?
Sure, yeah. Well, my name's Jess Estridge. I started getting involved with makerspaces back with Create Now in late 2014, and I was involved with them up until I guess the end of 2022. I ended my membership there at the very end of that year. That was about 9 months prior to them closing the space, so I tried to be involved as long as I physically could. Um, I had seen some of the deficiencies and some of the ways they were lacking at that time around 2019, and decided that I wanted to explore other options. And we had a group of folk come up from Berea to learn more about our makerspace at the time. They were just in the planning stages at the local library, and I sort of dove in with them. We opened up in August of that year, and we are in a very small space, about 2,200 square feet, but we pack in a full wood shop, metal shop, as well as a clean room or a third space with lots of digital fabrication tools, lasers, 3D printers, things like that. We've done a lot in the past couple of years to try and make a name for ourselves. So we act both as a community-focused space with trying to bring access to tools and equipment and things that folk may not be able to uh, afford or have physical space for on their own. We act as sort of an extension of capabilities for a lot of the working artists in the area. Berea is known for its craft. It's advertising itself as the craft capital of the world. So there's still a lot of folk there who are practicing traditional woodworking and metalworking and blacksmithing and luthiers and all sorts of people who also make use of our space as a way to expand their capabilities without having to invest in more room or tools. Um, we've done some big projects with the community, whether it's the Christmas tree that got international attention, and I'll be sure to share various links in this in the chat, as well as last year when we worked with the Kentucky Department of Education and Parker Hannafin to help run the Purpose in Action program, which was an engineering program with two local schools, Berea Community and Woodford County, that sort of helped them engage with developing and engineering a new work cell to let folk, disabled folk or people with limited mobility or other impairments be able to work in an environment such as Parker Hannafin. They are a giant company that makes O-rings and a lot of other chemical products. So we sort of extended their capabilities, and we had members who were able to lead them through engineering exercises and help them develop, their solution to try and increase, meet their goals for that project, and that turned out super well. That was a big boon for us as well. That gave us a lot of new funds from both the Department of Education and from the Parker Hannafin to increase our tool set. Our wiki is woefully out of date when it comes to some of that stuff, but I can definitely tell you we have a full wood shop, so including a 5x10 CNC router in there that we've had since the beginning. We've invested in the metal shop pretty heavily, so we have a lot of both modern and traditional tooling there, whether it is fabrication tables for weldings, MIG, TIG, and stick, a plasma cutter, things like a gas forge, a coal forge, and now an inductive heater. So if people want to do heat treatments or just forge a lot faster, or even melt steel if they really wanted to, they can do that. Our clean room, and that's scare quotes around it. It has things like CO2 and fiber lasers. It has 3D printers. We have a full lineup of bamboos and some larger format crealities, and we'll be getting in a very large printer in the next couple of months. Probably around August is when our big LED one comes in. That's about like an 800 by 800 by 1,000 build volume. That's in millimeters. We host workshops there. We do a lot of community focused events like skill shares, and we're running a craft series right now that we're doing with the college. It lets us teach folk traditional woodworking and blacksmithing at a sliding scale price. We've done a lot of interactions with the college since then, and with our member base, but being able to do a lot of build projects, things like a giant chimney swift tower, and structures at the community garden that they help run, things like that. So I think I've gone through a lot there, but yeah, we've tried to do a lot with very small amount of space, and an all volunteer group. We do not have paid staff. Everything has been done on a volunteer basis. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. All right. Let's see. I think that I'm gonna say they were all good, but I'm gonna say we're saving the best for last, since you were last, Nate. But Nate, tell us about I3 Detroit.
Well, I will try to live up to an introduction like that. So during the pre-meeting, I actually jumped in the car and I came down to the space so I can show you, because our website is not all that great. But so we can talk about how we got here and what you can make, and then I can take you around. But I started, and I hold up here in the electronics lab, A, because it's quiet, and B, because I'm particularly proud of it, and I'm the electronics lab coordinator. So that's like the volunteer hat that I wear. I've done a bunch of different stuff for the space around the years. I've been around since the beginning, actually kind of involved in hackerspaces since about 2007 with Hack DC. And then in 2009, when I3 Detroit started up, jumped on board that effort and, took some of the lessons from Hack DC and brought them here. And so we started out very small, like I think everyone, like 1,500 square feet up in Royal Oak, which is another Detroit suburb. Ran into some issues with the landlord up there, had done some stuff and not told the code inspectors about it about 30 years ago. And suddenly it was our problem and we had to move. As a very young organization, we'd only been operating less than a year. when we found ourselves looking for a new space. But even in that less than a year, we had filled to the gills, elbow to elbow. We had filled that space up in Royal Oak. And so we found a new building in Ferndale that was like 7,500 square feet. And we're like, how could you possibly? It's like buying a new hard drive. How could you possibly fill all that space? Next thing you know, it's full. You know, but it was all full of good stuff. So when we moved to Ferndale, we were able to have separate areas for welding versus wood shop, because you don't want your sawdust catching on fire, and you know, a separate place for the metal shop, and that gave us room to bring in a CNC mill and a separate lathe, and you know, all that sort of stuff. And a dedicated room for the electronics lab, which had previously just been a shelf on the wall. And so I'm gonna spin. Actually, can I flip my camera a little bit? I think there's a button for that. Well, there was last time I touched it. Well, I'll just do it over my shoulder then. So we've got, you know, the lab right now, we're building a new one. But the lab right now is kind of divided into two benches. So there's one that's like diagnostics focused, and the other one is more assembly focused. So this one has more of the hand tools. And then right behind it is roughly 1,000 drawers of components. We used to joke that, like, you know, we don't care if Radio Shack goes out of business, and then they did, and we don't, because they were never open 24/7, and we are. And then there's, you know, all the shoe boxes of other components over here. And this is kind of a microcosm of the way that the space, cut it up, of the way that the space works, which is all of this stuff just showed up here. Like, people contribute. You make a bin that says fans, and people, you know, oh, they've got a scrap fan, or they ordered a spare and they bring it in, and now it's there for someone to use when they need it. So we're all volunteer, like a couple of spaces have mentioned, and no no employees, anything like that. We joke that we have 150 janitors because we have 150 members. It's everyone's job to take out the trash, and that works reasonably well for us, and it helps us keep the dues super low. I do want to talk briefly about, there's a question in chat about like day rates and stuff like that. It's free. As a guest, you come in as the guest of a member, someone who is already a member, who is, you know, hosting you and supervising you. You're here for free as a guest, and we just ask that you know, give back in some way, whether that's swinging a room, or whether that's telling all your friends about it, or you know, whether that's, you know, find something to help out with. And that approach has worked very well for us. In 2019, so when the space was 10 years old, we had the opportunity to buy the other half of the building, or to rent the other half of the building, which would roughly double our space to about 15,000 square feet. And you know, we hemmed and hawed for a little bit, and we finally decided, well, you know, we're not going to get another chance. Let's do it. So we did that. We signed the papers, and next thing you know, the world shut down. So we've been building out our expansion, you know, over the last couple of years, and it's like 90% right now. Building the new electronics lab is like the last major step of that. But that's given us even more space, where now, previously, when we moved from our first space to here, we were able to separate out, you know, like I said, welding away from wood shop and stuff. Now we've been able to put all of the loud stuff on one side of the building, and then there's a wall and all of the quiet stuff on the other side. And that really helps with like the social aspect, because you know, as folks have mentioned, being a third space, you know, you've got your home life, you've got your work life, and you've got your third space, whatever kind of community organization that is. It fills a role in people's lives, and the social aspect has always been pretty significant for us. We have a number of members who really rarely touch the tools. They're here for the ideas and the, you know, maybe jumping in on someone else's project, or maybe just, you know, come in for the jam session or whatever. And I think it's pretty important to talk about that the sharing and the working together, and the you know, an idea shared is an idea improved. And the let's see, even back in, before we physically had a space, back in 2009, shortly after the organization was founded, we did a couple of just like build stuff together exercise, like parties, just to kind of try it out. And it turns out that even stuff that's really not very much fun when you do it alone is really great when you've got people to share it with. And so we are now like 15 years into that idea, and it's going pretty great. As for specific tools, I mean, there's a list on the website. If you click on the, like in the corner, there's a little thing that says like tool info/wiki. And then there's a map of all the zones. So we've divided up the space into zones, and this was a way of recognizing like the commitment of individuals, the volunteers who would, spend a lot of time, cleaning up the tools of a particular type or whatever. We've always said that it's every single member's job to put things away, but it's the zone coordinators call what away means. Like they define the pattern and everyone follows it. And that's worked really well. And so, a lot of the like administrative details of actually operating the space are done like at the zone coordinator level, because it's like the most bottom up, anti-authoritarian way we could figure out to make it actually work. And anti-authoritarian has a long history with us. So there was a distinct effort to have the phrase "subvert the dominant paradigm" be in our official bylaws. It did not make it, but interesting group around here. If you guys would like to see anything, I would love to get up and walk around and answer some questions, or we could leave it there.
That's a good segue. We'll include that in the Q&A, but now, yeah, it's time for questions, and feel free, everybody, to either raise your hand or put a question in the chat. And if you do put it in the chat, just write something like verbal or out loud if you want to ask it yourself, and if not, I can ask it for you. So here we go. I know you all already answered Celeste's. Let's see. Go for it, Jesse.
Well, one of them did. Chris answered, or no, it was Jesse. And Berea answered, but I'd like to hear from Chris what Celeste was asking.
Just to clarify, Celeste was asking if somebody was showing up who didn't have the means geographically, for example, to commit to a monthly or annual fee. Do you guys have day passes or anything for more of a short form commitment? You're muted, Chris.
Are you talking about like as far as coming in for a day? For the really short answer, but also and Julie is here now, so
nice.
she can also answer for this as well. We do not do day passes. The only reason why is because of the fact that first off, we have to get you a orientation. This is a 40,000 square foot warehouse. It was originally used by Hughes Aircraft. That's how they built fighter jet parts and things out of there. There's a lot of danger to a warehouse, and most of the time they require you to have like an OSHA certification if you're like working there. So we have to schedule orientation. You can go ahead and put that in if you want. I'll be right there. We also have to do a woodshop clearance class, CNC router class. If someone comes in with a day pass and they try to say, I got a CNC route this or this, well, if they don't have, a 4x8 or a 5x10 CNC router out there, or, a plasma cutter, things like that, their draw's not just something of a safety for the person, but the equipment itself. And you can't learn, Rome wasn't built in a day. It took me almost an entire year over at Create Now Makerspace, because I just used the woodworking room. And then I ended up going into 3D printing and things like that. And none of that was done on my own. So that's why we don't typically do day passes.
No, makes sense.
If I might, I'd like to broaden out that question because I was jumping off of Celeste's question. And that has to do with just generally what's the word I'm looking for? A tour and or observation as opposed to using the tool initially, like get acquainted kind of thing?
So we do actually have non-member classes and stuff. We actually have had a few members over at Create Now. We haven't had too many over at Lexington Makerspace, but they would take a couple of the classes. Like they used to have a women's welding class that was at Create Now, and you know, she loved it so much she came in there and she ended up signing up with a membership. But if you're wanting to do a tour with us, we always of course offer free tours. We are 24/7 access. The only thing is that that would be for members. If you're wanting a tour, we schedule it usually within the next couple days of your phone call, and then we can go over a few things with it. But if you have a massive amount of skill, and I mean a very massive amount of skill on something, we have had someone that came out. He was from St. Louis Make, and he knew how to pretty much operate anything. So just like when you're in college with doing classes, you know how you can clept out of math or clept out of English or something like that. You could be able to you can be able to clept out of the actual class itself, and you could be able to use the machine. Sorry, very long answer.
No,
No,
that
that
was
was
good.
quite good.
Yeah.
I think
Ah,
Jess
good
might
deal.
have had Jess at Berea has a answer for you as well.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely would love to have some sort of day engagement, but there is a lot of stuff that has to happen before that, even beyond the logistical challenges. It's yeah, there is, you know, our normal onboarding procedure is a you know, a walkthrough of the space, you know, demonstration of various things you need to do in the space, whether general upkeep or shutting down the space if you're the only one in there. We do our orientations, and those are usually scheduled a week out or so, but that again, that's all volunteer. So, you know, at some point, ostensibly, if we had the capacity in terms of, you know, on-site staff to allow that, we may be able to do it in the future. We just like with Lexington Makerspace and previously Create Now, we have a variety of workshops and opportunities to interact with the space that doesn't require you to be a member. And we do kind of do everything in our power to try and make membership as accessible as possible as well. We have trial memberships where people get 3 months to basically at a very reduced price to figure out how exactly you know, and to get cleared for everything and see how they, you know, if this is something they want to continue using, so they don't feel disappointed with not getting much done in their first month or anything like that. But yeah, it is a even in my day job, for clarification, I also work with a library based makerspace in Lexington, and you know, that's exclusively uh day passers basically. So, you know, a lot of just walk-ins and people wanting to complete projects that day, and it is the technology we use there is a lot simpler and a lot less hazardous to most people's health. But even then, the amount of engagement required and the amount of hands-on help needed can be tremendous. So to put that on a completely volunteer force is a tall order at this point. So
That makes sense.
Hey, Leo,
Huh.
I have a question.
Real quick though, Adam, I think wants to add his.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to build on that. One thing I wanted to state, kind of what I went over previously, is that like we work with members too, so we want the community and the membership involved. And if as long as we can continue to afford to let people or give people a lower rate, we're still going to do that based on their circumstances. So, for instance, if you're not able to, or you're not you know, you live really far away, but you still want to come by once in a while, we'll you know, the board will work with you on that and come up with an agreement, and we'll just revisit that agreement every so many months and see how things are going with you. And if you know, if you decide that you want to start coming more, then you certainly can, and we can readjust that. So we try and do our best to do that. But yeah, in terms of day passes, I have to agree with everybody. Without without things like the orientation and, you know, some liability things, it becomes more of a struggle, especially for people with or for organizations that are member run. Whereas, like, you know, like Jess said, we don't have people on staff all the time either. If we don't have the ability for somebody to be there to keep an eye on day passers, there's no way that that could happen for us. But yeah, we definitely try and work with everybody. So I just want to add that.
No, excellent. Thank you. And before we get to you, Brenda, we got a two-parter from Roy. How do NDAs and insurance work in relation to somebody working on, say, something novel, or, you know, just in terms of insurance in general? And that's directed to any one of you, so feel free to chime in.
I actually have something to say to that.
Sure.
So as far as like NDAs go, I actually have an invention. I think we talked about it at one point in time, in regards to the box joint jig, which actually now that that's going to be the case or whatever, uh, we'll actually have the equipment to be able to build it now. But we've had so many members come in that have presented something that is potentially a very good idea, or it's a new creative way or a form of art. Um, we of course want to make sure to respect that. We don't have NDAs in there unless we do have a guy that does come in. You know, this is a member space and everything. Go ahead.
I think that was just noise pollution. Sorry.
Oh, there is, you know, this is a member space, and what can essentially happen is that if someone comes in with something really great and he feels like he's very nervous around it and stuff, well, then the best part about 24/7 access is that you're able to go back and forth if you're really, really cautious about it. I did with my box joint jig, to where I was coming in at 12 o'clock at night and working till about 5 in the morning on it. And then I would essentially, I'd put it in my locker, put it away, and then left it where it was at.
Oh, good deal. That's good. Excellent. Thank you. Adam, you got your hand raised?
Yeah, we actually have the Inventors Council of Central Florida come to our space and hold their meetings there. And the way that works is we don't have an NDA for the, you know, for when you come in the building or whatever. But for something like that, where some of those guys are members, but some of them aren't, and they just hold their meetings there. They had gotten with us and asked if they could have their meetings there. And during their meetings, they have in the classroom, they can shut everything out, and then they require an NDA in order for you to attend that meeting. So that's kind of the way we operate. Is the space itself is a community space. So if you got secrets you want to hide, it's not a good idea to take them to show them out there. But if if you want some help, maybe join the Inventors Council, or if you want to start your own meeting and make sure they have an NDA signed for that meeting. Anybody can sign up to hold a class or meeting or workshop at our space. So, and then from there, the requirements are on you. We do have security cameras. In the new space, we're going to have more security cameras than we did in the past. But we also have a policy where they can't be looked at unless some sort of complaint or concern is filed. And then we have policies regarding who can actually look at them, which is a board member and at least 2 regular members. So it's not like we're gonna sit there and spy on those cameras either. The only people with access to them are the board members. So I mean, there has to be some sort of trust there, but I think for the most part, as long as you know have your own space singled out, like the classroom, and then have your NDA for that class, that's the best way we've found to run them.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm
let's-
too busy to steal your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no, excellent. Thanks, you guys. Let's see. Brenda, you're on. Go for it. You are muted.
I'm so sorry. I have a question.
No, no worries.
for Chris, but it's a general question. Uh, I'm not I'm not trying to learn how to use a DeWalt drill press or whatever you want to call it. But what I am trying to find out is that does your group, Chris, can you help make or a contract to make a prototype or a sample product? I wouldn't even know how to even use a drill or bench press or wood press. That's not what I'm not trying to learn how to do that, but I'm trying to get someone who has that experience and that equipment that I can say, here is my widget, and I want you to put ears on it, so to speak. So it's a new widget. It's my widget. That's what I'm looking for.
I think that was directed, just to clarify, Chris Lexington Makerspace.
Yeah. Pretty funny just seeing a pin with ears, but no, as far as that, do want to make a disclaimer. I am not using any DeWalt related tools, that they are only Milwaukee tools.
Great.
And
I'm sorry.
yeah. I don't want to lose my sponsorship.
Look,
So
I couldn't think. I just said something.
with my Milwaukee tools, I could be able to create something pretty cool for you. We have had some really cool stuff. I was contracted to make prototypes. We actually have a member that just signed back up with us. His name is Mario, and his wife worked at the Neuro Institute for UK or something like that. And she wanted me to 3D print a rat brain slicing tray for doing research on rat brains. So I was like, yeah, sure, that's something I'll do. She sent me the file. I had to tweak it a little bit, for the prototype, and I was able to make it. Of course, I signed an NDA with her. Same thing. There was a woman that was over at Create Now Makerspace, where she was building kind of like a radiation detection device, and it was just making the columns or whatever for it. It was just a simplistic design, but it was helping and contributing to that. So yes, I do contracting for prototyping for people. And if wanting to do NDAs, I have signed them in the past and I've had no issues with it.
Okay, perfect. So I'll send you a message, and when I come to Lexington, I'm gonna have dinner with Don and Leo. So we're gonna
Oh yeah,
arrange it.
no, absolutely. Well, come to Pasta Garage. It's right down the street from the Makerspace, and it's a really great place.
It is.
But yeah, we're doing a few of them. We actually have a contract. I got a phone call on Wednesday. I've got it completed on Friday, but Awesome Inc. actually just contracted us out to make like a giant light bulb.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
And you said
Cool.
that you don't use DeWalt, so I won't bring my DeWalt.
no, I do not. No.
Okay.
I don't have a DeWalt rotary sander there. Someone else owns that, but I own the Milwaukee one.
Good, because
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it, and I don't want to spend all day fooling around with any of that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, now
This would be but I will reach out with you and stuff like that after sometime later on this
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay, we got it. Thank you.
Oh,
No
good
problem.
deal. And I would also like to add that, yeah, Xometry does some contractual work like that as well. And Adam, your question, was that directed at Jess or Lex Chris? I'm curious, is that just you or the Makerspace that provides that service?
Yeah, that was directed at Chris. I was wondering, does your Makerspace actually provide those services? Because you're the one that said you in partnership with the Xometry too, or no?
Yeah, so what we just did, so like I said, the big news is that we are getting a fiber laser, I think 3 kilowatt, is that correct? 3 kilowatts, so that's, and what was it, IDF or something? IGS, it's the Mac Daddy. So anyways, we're getting that, and we've gotten the suction systems and everything else, so we're partnering up with a Xometry partner himself. and we all are being onboarded right now. We're going through our things set up. Actually, Julie is setting up LLC for it and everything, and so we are going to start taking on Xometry work as well. We will be Xometry partners. And this will be a separate LLC from our 501c3. And this way, if you know, we of course we all want to be able to not have to have a boss anymore. We've all kind of made that decision. David's been ferrying for over 50 years, and he's done with it. He's done his mark. Julie has been a web developer for what, 15 years. Yeah. And I've done a jack of all trades. If you name it, I've done it. I've gone through every single bit of blue collar trade. Every time they interview me, they ask me why I'm here, and I said honestly, it'd be fun to learn. That's how I went into tow truck, and I thought it'd be rowdy, and it is. But I'm done with it. I'm ready to So it's actually funnier. Repo is actually safer than impounding. Yeah, weirdly enough, they know it's coming. But no, like I said, we want to be able to do other partnerships with people, and we can be able to contract without having to go through the Xometry route as well.
Well, that kind of raises an interesting question for the other Makerspace leaders. Do any of you all have members that do contract work for people who want to have it done? Have y'all ever work with that? I see Nate shaking his head. Nate, can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's funny because that's a question that comes up once in a while. People will email the organization and be like, "Can I pay you to make a prototype for me?" And that's not what the organization does. The organization is a framework through which the members maintain the space for each other. Any sort of contracting or anything like that would be between the person and an individual member who may perform those services. But the organization has no stake in that, explicitly, absolutely not related to that activity. Like it is somewhere written down that the organization is not allowed to own intellectual property or enter any agreements or anything like that, specifically to stay out of that legal mess.
Yeah.
Interesting. It sounds like some of your members, though, that would have the skill sets to do that could be a little entrepreneurial and make things for people like Brenda that maybe aren't, maybe they don't want to figure out how to make it, but they want to have it made.
Yeah,
Sure.
I like the word Roy used, referrals.
Yeah.
On an individual basis.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into that role in the last year, having run the Makerspace. Everybody knows, like, oh, this guy knows how to do it. And the job I ended up leaving the job that I left the Makerspace Fab Lab. I ran, so the Lakeshore Fab Lab was part of Muskegon Community College, and I left that role for another role. That was boring, so I quit that. And I kind of fell into the referral thing. So
Cool.
Years and years ago, I met a guy at FamiLab actually when I was down there for a visit, named Carlos, and he said that he did a lot of that, would make prototypes for, inventors and stuff like that in exchange for a share of the company. And of course, a lot of them never went anywhere, but the ones that did, it paid off. And I keep meaning to follow up with him, because that was years ago, and see if that ever worked out, because it seemed like an interesting model. I could see that being, if you are kind of the jack of all trades and comfortable with translating, we used to joke at work that in my day job, that the customer would come to us not with a specification, but with like a Pinterest board. And it's like, that's not really at the level that you can just take it to a machine shop and have them make parts. See, there's a whole tremendous amount of engineering to go from one to the other. But if you're the kind of person who wants to do that, sure, absolutely, you could do it here. But the organization is not in the business.
He's very much right.
Say again.
I was going to say you are right in regards to that. Now there has been people that have come up with a Pinterest board, and I'm like, I can do it, but it's going to cost a lot more. And that's that's one of the problems. We've actually had a couple times where I've had to tell them, like, look, I can't do it. We have had other ones that were really weird things. Most of the people that have come up to us for contracts and stuff has all been by word of mouth because of the fact that we're very, we try to keep a good social network. We recently did Woodcraft's Jess Crow project for the epoxy thing that she was teaching the classes for. I do like one day a month at Woodcraft, and they contracted us out using the CNC router, and it paid really well. We've had some normal ones. I have a piece sitting in a museum from using a plasma cutter and just 2x10s, and I'm a blue collar worker, and then we did a Kentucky Derby winners sign recently, Silver Charm, the 1997 winner, and for Old Friends Farm. And so we really like doing these projects, but it does scale. Xometry is going to be the way to go if you want a lucrative amount of money. But unfortunately, with Xometry, you have to invest in very, very expensive materials. You have to have a warehouse to be able to hold it. It's not every day someone can have 2 days to get a 5x10 of acrylic shipped in and get it cut and shipped out. You need to be able to have a lot of contacts as well. And that's one of the things that we have with our, partnership that we're setting up.
No, excellent. Thank you.
Very cool.
Let's see. There we go. Let's see. Does anybody have any more questions? Oop. Yeah, that is true. Roy had an observation. Using and building from scratch is a talent rather than with most careers. Oh, and also, hey, David, thanks for joining us. Oh,
yeah, I had another meeting, so I wasn't able to.
Oh, hey, Dave.
Oh, no problem.
I did just want to unfortunately, I don't know how your conversation went, but I think that makerspaces are a great place for, I look at it from an inventor standpoint. You've got to invest one of two things, either time or money, or in a lot of cases, both, in order to get your invention going. And so if you're one of those that is more interested in inventing or in investing time, then working with a makerspace works great because you can learn how to do things yourself with those. And I think it's a great place to get those early prototypes, the Frankentypes type of things done. But if you're looking for finished product, that's something that takes a lot more doing.
Yeah, no, fully agreed. All right, guys, any more questions? Feel free to either put it in the chat or raise your hands. Going once, going twice. Oh, no, Brandon's just got the thumbs up. All right, well, thank you guys so much. This was really great, and everybody in the audience, if you got a makerspace near you, this goes double if one of our guests are having that makerspace near you. Make use of that resource. It's a fantastic resource.
Well, and drop in for a tour. I think I don't know of a single makerspace that doesn't offer tours.
Absolutely.
For us, it's on our calendar. It's every Friday. I think most spaces seem to have their tours on Fridays. That's just the pattern. It's whenever I'm traveling, I just drop in the local one on Friday, and there's always a tour.
Nice.
And there's nothing like experiencing it. You walk in the door. I used to joke that we want a camera. We have a really strict policy about how we can't use cameras, but it would be funny if we had one just capture that kind of like open mouthed, slack jawed moment when people walk through the door the first time, because everyone does it. When like you see, the size of the space and how much, exactly, the energy. That's so this is something I didn't get a chance to touch on earlier, is that there's energy around just like having like the limitless possibilities, and there's energy around sharing the ideas and making things together and stuff like that, and they feed on each other. And once in a while, we get somebody who doesn't seem to exude that energy, you know, like they're very closed off, they're being like secret squirrel, or they, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with anyone. And it turns out that sometimes, you know, sometimes they're just weird, and sometimes they're an inventor and they're trying to keep something secret. And it's like, that's not really what the social norm is around here. It can be done, but it sticks out.
Yeah,
No,
and
absolutely.
yeah, I totally agree. Uh, you know, there's an energy that just becomes contagious almost when you're working together. We see that as our, of course, of our workshops, like I was saying earlier, but in maker spaces, I see the same thing. I really do, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Um, any parting thoughts from any of the Makerspace leaders? Parting thoughts where they can find you, the days that you all have tours, unless everybody's on a Friday schedule.
I think ours is actually on Tuesdays. For some reason, Tuesday has always been a very active night for us. A lot of our older members, especially, have been really night owls. So Tuesday evenings are really where ours has. But like I said, now that we're hitting that reset button, we plan on adding more open house nights, and I'm kind of thinking either Friday or a weekend to make it more available to more people.
Well, there's a specific reason it's on Tuesday, and it goes back to a document written by Jens, whose last name escapes me, in 2004, about how to found a hackerspace. And he's like, just do everything on Tuesdays. Do your meetings on Tuesdays. Every day of the week is equally bad, so just pick Tuesday. And it's pretty funny, and sure enough, a lot of spaces do.
Yeah, our open meetings are always first Tuesday of the month, so
Yeah.
something
We
to that.
pretty much, we usually get like Google form submissions a lot of the time. Julie works from home, and I'm able to travel. I actually live like a mile up the road from the Makerspace. She lives about a mile and a half from the Makerspace. And we can usually schedule something within about 48 hours. And then sometimes we've had people that have literally just signed up, you know, online through our website, and then we get a thing, and we were like, oh, so that happened today. All right, so we got to go set this up. And usually we give them a call as soon as we end up seeing the submission form. Um, uh, as far as like tours go, we're pretty much about available almost any day. And if not, we also have, you know, David Nadu with us as well that can schedule tours. And sometimes we've even had members themselves that work there all the time, and they would even give a tour. So it's great because we try to keep a democracy of the place. If that you see it, just do it. So we have some pretty good trusting members that do the tours as well.
My favorite thing to do when giving a tour is I'll kind of like, you know, the tour is kind of a loop around the building because it's just kind of easy to snake through everything and end up back where we started. And if it happens that there's someone else coming in the door just as we make our way back there, I just turn to the people who just finished the tour and say, okay, now it's your turn to give one. And about 80% of the time they're all about it and they do it. And that is exactly the point. You know, it's like I'll shadow them and, you know, be there if they get stuck, but you know, they get it. And those people, if that serendipitous event happens, it's like it primes those people to be some of the most productive members when they come on and join, because like they're instantly engaged in the idea of how the whole community works.
Yeah, I like to talk about Family Lab particularly as YMCA for nerds. And in spite of the fact that they've got all kinds of amazing tools and everything, the best asset they have is the people. I like to say that doesn't matter what your question is, there's someone there that either knows the answer, knows someone who knows the answer, or how to get the answer. So, it's just amazing the depth of knowledge that exists in the maker spaces.
Oh yeah, you ask 5 people, you get 7 answers.
We usually host our open houses and our onboardings the second and actually the first and the third Thursdays, but we're always open to any other time as long as you give us a call or an email. It is we're happy to accommodate as much as possible, whether it's just tours or general accessibility or wanting to collaborate on community projects and stuff like that. So that is our main intent is increasing accessibility. So as long as you talk to us, that's going to be the easiest way to make that happen.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Anything else from anybody else?
Yeah. We did want to make one note. So that was as far as like doing tours and everything, we did notice that a few of the maker spaces stated that they had tour nights and things like that. That's something I think we're probably going to look at now. If I see people that are doing it, we follow the Google Form submissions and everything, but maybe we might start setting something up. We actually talked about getting a smoker recently, and we're working with a promoter right now for music events. Since the place has really good sound and being a warehouse, it's good for those type of venues, and working with Greg Huff, hopefully. But that'll be later on after we get the fiber laser up. But we kind of want to start doing that soon.
Do it. We got a barbecue that, just little propane that we roll out whenever the weather's nice. And that's always, you get more people that come out to the Fridays when there's something freshly grilled.
No, absolutely. Brisket and laser printers.
Actually,
laser
I do want to make a note. So we were working at Woodcraft one day. I do want to say this. I do have the video of it, but Julie brought over some breakfast and we had a hash brown, and they have the new X Tool laser. So we actually programmed Eat Me and we laser burned it onto the actual tater tot.
Oh, how cool is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were.
Word to the wise, it does take a little while. If you decide to do that with bacon, it takes a little while for the smell to get out of the machine.
No, there was a potato smell in Woodcraft all day. It was Paduke and potatoes all day.
What's really funny, we've got a bunch of folks that do leather work in the laser cutters, which I think is great because it's like humanity's oldest craft and like one of the newest tools. And the smell of burning animal it was like a very distinctive it's not the greatest, it's not the worst, it's not as bad as certain plastics, but it's when somebody's running leather down the block as you're driving up. The exhaust system is very good. You don't smell it so much in the space, but it fills the neighborhood.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna try bacon soon now.
Oh boy, there are some stories that I probably won't tell because this is being recorded. When we first got our lasers back in the year, back in the day, there were some very strange things that got lasered. They're such a fun tool, and it's like, as long as the lid's closed, it's hard to really hurt much. So get creative.
Yeah, I've gone down that YouTube hole of people doing stuff with on-tech lasers. I think there was one recently where a fly got trapped in it, and the guy was like, "Dude, get away from it!" And I think it got its leg just under it for just a second. You saw it scurrying off.
Oh,
interesting.
Well, thankfully, we're too small to get in there because otherwise, I'm sure somebody would try it.
Yeah.
It is in our rules. You're explicitly not allowed to laser yourself.
It does work for tattoo removal. I did watch that video. There was a guy, he had a ring tattoo, and he used that. But buddy, you should have seen how much pain that poor man was in. He goes, I don't know what hurt worse, the marriage, the divorce, or the tattoo removal.
Wow. Goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, in my experience, at least, tattoo removal is the Q switch lasers, not like the CW CO2s. So that's not the kind we have.
Yep, it just mostly tore up a bunch of flesh.
Well, you heard it here first. Don't laser yourself or anyone you know or anyone in your neighborhood or whatever.
Or
It's our
even
PSA
people
for
you
the
don't
evening.
like.
Maker spaces do not do tattoo removal on the side.
Is that
Well, there's at least one space that actually has a poster on the wall that says rule number 1, do not be on fire.
Yeah, I think we have a 3-phase power plug that says do not put your fingers in it or touch it. You will die, and it will be very slowly, and you'll feel it the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Next year for Halloween, we'll shut down the space and we'll put a whole bunch of dummies. We had this idea last year, but we weren't open. But we'll get a whole bunch of dummies and put them in the planer, or have one strapped to the CNC router. We'll do something weird next year. The saw stop
Like
would
an
be like,
OSHA
nah,
haunted
there's no
house
way.
kind of deal.
Yeah, it is a creepy warehouse. I'm not gonna lie. So we can definitely make that a scary place.
Makerspace Halloween parties are second to none. You want to find a group that does crazy DIY costumes, you found it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna probably do that now next year. That's gonna happen.
Oh, all right. Well, anything else? We're coming up on 8:30. Going once, going twice. All right.
Well,
Thank you all for being here. Don't forget our Inventor Entrepreneur Workshop is next week, Tuesday, April the 9th, and Inventor Friday Live a week from this Friday. Watch us, join us on Zoom or watch us on YouTube. We're going to be in both places at once. And that's on Friday, April the 12th. We hope to see you all there. And thank you again. Thanks, big thanks to all of our Makerspace leaders.
yeah.
This was a
Adam,
really
Nate,
great.
Jess, Chris, and Chris. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to overspeak.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, everybody have a great night. And
Thanks for attending, everybody.
yep, we'll
Yeah.
see
Thank
you
you.
next week.
Bye-bye.
I
I'll
hope-
send you an email, Chris.
I will.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Goodbye.
I hope to visit the spaces I haven't had a chance to yet.